Landlord gets online and says he goes to his 2-bedroom, 1-bath location, property, whatever you want to call it. He sees about 8 vehicles, goes inside for his walk, sees 11 people sitting there. Now, what could he have done to save? What could they have done to protect themselves? A lot of people think that I can just rent it out. I can put in a handshake deal online, or I could just register, keep the text messages, and bam, I'm now officially a landlord. That's not true anymore. With the evolving landscape of scams out there and people that are willing to take advantage of people trying to do the right thing or trying to be upstanding and doing the right thing, a lot of people are definitely going to take advantage of it. Now, this is just, you know, unfortunately a normalized situation across the nation. And in Texas, people are very crafty, and people that are coming in from all over the place are trying to take advantage of it. So let's go over it and see what we have. So we got property code, and I am in no shape or form an attorney, but I do have some experience messing around with vetting tenants and trying to get to the bottom. Pretty much have to be a forensic, digital forensic scientist just to wade through everybody's information and trying to get to the root of if they're lying to you or if they're actually withholding any kind of information, because there are TikToks and reels out there that will help people try to solve the housing crisis by cutting corners and also, trying to take advantage of the system. So by having a implemented structure to what you're trying to do and trying to accomplish, you actually help yourself a lot more, because if you don't have some kind of a structure system, somebody will find a way to exploit it. And unfortunately, handshake deals and, voicemails, stuff like that, anything that's not in writing is pretty much unenforceable. Now, if you're a DIY landlord, I suggest you talk to a lawyer, talk to your CPA about, limits, rules, and get to know, make the connections in your local area to know who your JP court is and who the judge is, and figure it out. Because Texas property code, you can read this front and back, and you'll see that some of it's, dated. I mean, it's still standing, but you have to understand, 3 adults per room. So in that instance, you can do 3 per room and then +1 for rentals. So for that 2-bedroom, you really want maybe a couple or a single and, an office, or, a couple or a single with kids. And you usually, something in that situation, you want to try to limit the amount of traffic that goes through there. Now, 2-bedroom, 1-bath, maybe a 1,000 square feet. That's people living on top of each other. And when they're doing it like that, I mean, their situation might be dire and that's what they need, but it will wear on it, because you might not hear it from, say, HOA, if you even have an HOA, but you'll hear it from your neighbors, and your neighbors' complaints don't really hold up in court unless it's documented and stuff. So if you have that kind of situation, I definitely recommend you go about contacting an attorney, because I'm not a lawyer, but I mean, I've seen some really gnarly things where people go all the way to the court and they're saying, well, he hasn't paid me for this. And then the judge is asking, well, where's the documentation? Did you give him ample amount of communication so that we can get to the bottom of this? And sometimes it's like, no. But it could also be, they were late with rent. I charged them a predetermined amount. And he's asking, what's the lease? And the landlord saying, what lease? I mean, we just had an understanding. And it's like, that doesn't hold up. So occupancy limits, that's something you have to worry about. Subletting, like this website here, it talks about what is subletting, what's the rules for subletting. I mean, if it's not in your lease that you can't sublet, unfortunately, they can do what they want. You have to tighten yourself up. Tenant screening, there's plenty of different ways or different venues to do tenant screening, but you can get a applicant that is super qualified, checks all the boxes. But if you're not asking, hey, is this just by you, or do you have any animals? Do you have any, any idea um, what your situation is? Are you going to be here short term? Are you going to be here long term? Does your family even? You don't have to pry too much into their. You don't have to pry too much into their situation, but whenever you are talking about a lease and talking about contracts, you do have to have certain ways of protecting yourself. Like how long can guests stay? How many vehicles can stay? If you're not looking at little things like that, you end up with a parking lot on your, paid parking lot. If it was, say, in a neighborhood that has parking problems, you could have somebody running like long-term parking or short-term parking, stuff like that. So you have to have certain things in the lease that'll actually cover you. Now, I would say use maybe like a Texas Realtors form. These forms are free. You just have to download them and, check it. If you have someone who is, a lawyer, check it with them. Or pay a lawyer if you want to protect yourself. Have them walk you through it. These are all things to protect your property and protect your investment and your assets. So do it. There's free verification. Are you calling their last place? Are you talking to the last place? If they're subletting, you're not verifying anybody. You're letting squatters go in and pay someone else to use your property, and they're using it in a bad acting way. Sometimes they're getting in there because they're highly qualified. They always make their payments, always do that, but they're letting someone stay there for twice what you're charging them just because that person isn't qualified or those people aren't qualified, and they pay through the nose because they have maybe bad credit or they're felons or they have violent history, drug manufacturing. There's a lot of things that disqualify, qualified tenants. So you have to be aware that that is another way that they can take advantage of you. Employment verification scams. There's plenty of scams out there where people are teaching each other, how to use Photoshop, Adobe, even using AI to generate it. They'll give them a block or tell them, they'll get a sample of a pay slip from somewhere, and they'll have AI just doctor it up so it says whatever they want to say, just so that they can, clear a certain requirement that you have in writing. But as soon as they get in there, they don't pay. They have 3 months because you don't understand the eviction process, or you don't want to pay for a lawyer, so you think you can fight it online. Which you can file online, but are you actually going through all the steps? And are your steps covered enough so that you're not, if you have something wrong in your paperwork, just one thing, and you file it online, they can hold it and then kick it back and tell you no, it didn't clear. Or you can even get in front of the JP and say, this is a situation, judge, and judge can be totally empathetic for you. But if it's not in writing or if it's not structured right, then honestly, he really can't do anything except maybe give you another, case date, or he could just throw it out. And chances are, if it's a busy day, he's probably going to throw it out and tell you to refile it and go through all of it again. So, you can look into actual rental scams and see what they're doing. Equifax has a pretty good one, but honestly, as soon as someone sees that there's a light put on top of a fraud or a scam, there's someone out there who's pivoting to make it something else, or they're offering a service to try to, take advantage of whoever or whatever's out there and make it profitable for them. Because they're going to be crafty. They realize that you're asking them for, security deposit. You're asking for thousands of dollars, even hundreds of dollars for a room. So if there's potential to take advantage of someone, they'll do it. So, I'm not a lawyer. I've gone through my fair share of leases and rental applications. privileged information. Some people are totally good at, you know, presenting themselves as upstanding or presenting themselves as, you know, a bona fide qualified tenant. And as soon as they're in the door, it changes. So unless you're actually, you know, going through the form and doing the things that you need to protect your assets, you need to realize there's someone out there who is desperate enough to take advantage of it. Now, if you are a landlord and you have situations that you need addressed, you can always contact us. I mean, we'll take care of it. But if you just like burned out, remote, first time, if you're just not feeling it, or if you still think you can do it yourself, come down here. There's answers here. We have answers at andrewchavis.com. There's a certain tab right there. You know, how much? This is all geared towards where I'm located at in Saginaw, and I prefer to stay local because if there is an emergency or if there's something that needs to be handled locally, I'd rather be there than have to drive, you know, 30 to 45 minutes, or even worse, have to put one of my clients' assets or properties in jeopardy due to my inability to react. Because as a property manager, you have to be super reactive. Things change all the time. You know, case by case, there's a lot of different things out there that's going to change. And if you're not well versed, if you're not going to, say, the NARPA meetings, if you're not going to, say, the Metrotex, which is my area, to, you know, rub shoulders with other realtors and understand how the landscape is changing, then you're setting yourself up for failure, because these clients are looking to you for guidance because they don't want to go through all this. And if they are going through all this and you're the one who's getting them a tenant, you have to be able to like buckle down and say, this is a good tenant because of this, 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 this. And if you know, trust my bearings and trust my findings, then this is the qualified tenant for you. Like tenant procurement. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts that go into managing your own property. And I just keep seeing more and more horror stories, and I'll try to dedicate a video to it. But honestly, just make sure that you're covering yourself up, because if you don't, somebody else is going to try to exploit it. So, andrewchavis.com. You got my YouTube right here. I appreciate just the views. I mean, I don't really care about the like and subscribes, but I just want to know, what problems are y'all seeing out there? Because if you're seeing them and we can address them, you could help somebody else, or, you know, you can ask a question and get an answer. I mean, I do it anonymously, but I like jumping on, like, you know, some Reddits, landlords, property management, and I like to just hear and listen. I mean, I don't lurk a lot, but there are some threads out there that I actually, you know, teach you how hot fire is without having to touch it, if you understand what I'm saying. But you can reach out to me, andrewchavis63@gmail.com. You can check us all out at, here, I'll bring it up, at All Panther. If you have any more questions, click up here. We have properties, what we're doing. We have our blog. We try to update our blog so that you guys can check out and see what's going on. I'm in Tarrant County. I'm in Fort Worth, and I'm North Fort Worth, where Saginaw is at. And I try to upload this every, you know, Thursday. More times if it's like a super busy real estate, you know, week. But just let's figure it out. If you guys need anything else, let me know. I am socially active a lot because I have to be on the computer a lot. So just let me know what's going on with you guys. If you have any questions, or if you have any concerns, or if you even want to see, hey man, I'm tired of doing it myself. Is there any way you can help me? Well, help you with what? Help me with tenant procurement. I'm tired of people burning me out, or I'm tired of not having any vendors that I can trust. Paid a guy up front and he took my money and never showed up again. Hear that all the time. There's certain things that we do that make us valuable to you if you were to employ us, because as the client system, we want to make sure that everything that you get is worth the money and time that you're put into it. So, like I said, if you guys need anything, let me know. You got All Panther Properties here. You got my website here. You can look me up. Obviously, my name's on the YouTube, but just let me know, because I honestly want to be better, and I also want to work for you so that you can be better. All right.